What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it. All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Dan Russo Show presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia. I'm your host, Kyle Bennett, and joining me each and every week is the namesake of the show, head coach of Vineland High School football, Dan Russo. Coach, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I'm fresh off wedding number 1 of 2 this month. And you guys had your matchup on Friday against Holy Spirit. Unfortunately, a loss to Holy Spirit, but I was keeping up to date as much as I could while I was at the wedding via social media. And from the looks of it, early on, we were talking before we started recording too. The guys hung in. They played tough. A 50-24 matchup, and to be able to put up 24 points against a school like Holy Spirit, where we talked last week, they're one of those private schools that they can go and grab players from wherever they choose, if they so choose to do that. But, to be able to go pound for pound with them for most of the game is an impressive feat. And, you got to be pretty impressed with how you guys hung in for 4 quarters against them.
Yeah, definitely. Our kids played much better. We went up 10-0 pretty quick. The offense did a nice job. And unfortunately, we had a few guys injured, with Gallo out, helping us at backer. And then Tyrell Powell was a little dinged up. Hopefully we get him back this week. And, we're trying to fill holes and stuff on defense. And, Holy Spirit coaches did a nice job finding some of our holes there and took advantage of it. They're not only do they have like an all-star team, as you said, they recruit them and handpick them, but they have some really good coaches there. Coach DePasquale, a young guy doing a good job, and Coach AJ Russo is an assistant now. He gave up the head job, and they have a new head coach. And then they have Coach Roman, whose brother is actually the OC for the Ravens, and he's been doing a great job over there. And his son was one of their best players as well. He's a very athletic kid, and tough opponent. They're top 3 in South Jersey, I think, and top 10 in the state. Playing some tough teams here. Washington Township's a really good team. They're ranked, and Kingsway's ranked. And believe it or not, Oakcrest is 6-1. And we kind of hung with them. We're down some guys. Had a chance to even win that game, but sitting at 2-4 with 2 games left in the regular season here, and we're hoping to get back on track Friday night in the win column against Egg Harbor. Coach Stetzer's there, a friend of mine. We played against each other in high school and played on the same team in an all-star game, and we're actually roommates. And known him a long time, and we both have a lot of respect for one another, and he does a nice job there. And it's going to be an old school Cape Atlantic battle here with Vineland and Egg Harbor. We played years ago in the old Cape football conference. Cape Atlantic still exists, but not for football. And it's going to be a heavyweight fight with 2 old rivals going at it. And I'm looking forward to it. We always have good games with them, and our kids are working hard. We had a great week of practice last week, and kids played much better. And that's going to continue. And as I mentioned to you before we started the podcast, we've got about 20 underclassmen contributing plus on the varsity team right now. And Obviously we have some seniors that are battling every week and giving us all they have, but to have this high a number of guys contributing on offense, defense, and special teams, I do feel like this program team's going in the right direction, even though our record right now doesn't say that. But they're competing, they're battling, they have good attitudes, staying focused, and just staying in the moment. We want to focus right now on Egg Harbor, and hopefully we can win Friday, and it leads to another one, and maybe we reach the playoffs. That'll be it's my 10th year, but we didn't have playoffs for the COVID year, so it'd be nice to have 5 out of the 9 years when the playoffs are running to make a playoff berth. There's 30 teams in Group 5, our section, and right now we're sitting at like 18. And I feel like if we can get these wins on our schedule here, we could, be a 10 to 12 seed. Hopefully, our kids, are up to the task. It's going to be a playoff environment. Egg Harbor, they're saying the same things we're saying. They're 2-5. We're 2-4. The winner could possibly get into the playoffs. The loser, probably not. So it's going to be a playoff-like atmosphere Friday night at EHT.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about the at least 20 underclassmen on this varsity roster, for people at home who don't know, and as long as I've known Coach Russo, that's a rarity for your teams. It's not very often that you have so many contributing underclassmen on the varsity roster, and I think that speaks to just the way, like you mentioned, the program heading in the right direction, having the ability to, call these kids up like you did last year, having that core group come up, to have somebody like Dan be at quarterback starting his freshman year and be able to grow with these guys. And I think that's only going to help this team, not only for the now, but for the future as these guys, progress in their high school years, going from freshmen to sophomores, sophomores to juniors, and then juniors to seniors, for them to kind of grow collectively and not just, it be a senior core and then kind of having a restart. You're going to have a giant portion of this roster together for at minimum 2 to 3 years all together. And I think, one, that's super special and super rare for high school football nowadays. And two, it's only going to make the on field play and off field relationships that much better for the guys on the roster.
Yeah, no doubt. In addition to the youth movement on the varsity level, I was off Monday for Columbus Day, and JV played Holy Spirit, and I was fortunate enough to be able to bus them on the bus with them to Holy Spirit. And some of the kids I'm talking about don't really play JV, and we have additional players that are really doing a nice job. And they went down Absecon and beat Holy Spirit 14-0. So been here 10 years, and we've played, Prep and Holy Spirit and St. Joe's. It seems like every year we have one of them, sometimes two of them. But I know we've beaten them a few times. The only time I can remember is beating our JV, I think it was, our freshman year, beating St. Joe's. And this is the second time in 10 years that any one of our teams, freshman, JV, or varsity, has beaten them. So that is a substantial accomplishment. Holy Spirit doesn't have a freshman program, so it was like their JV was freshman and JV combined. So they had some guys, and our kids' game was at 10 in the morning. Told them to be here at 8 o'clock. I got here about 7:45 a.m. and there was kids waiting at the door, ready to go. One kid even rode his bike, and it was a pretty long distance, and I couldn't be more impressed with that, because that shows me commitment and desire. He got up early. These kids are up playing video games all night, so maybe he took a break from the video games or whatever they do, and he was here waiting. Matter of fact, his name's Gage Gallo. Rode his bike, and he plays quarterback for the JV. So that's very impressive to me. And we were on the bus by 8:15 going down the Absecon, and say what, it was an awesome morning. Made my day. And then I was fortunate enough to see the Raiders play that night. So Pop got some, not as many plays, but hit some opportunities in there, and he's on special teams. So, he just has to wait his turn and keep working hard. He'll be fine. But getting back to that JV, you know, wasn't easy atmosphere. A lot of Holy Spirit fans there. We had some, but not like they did because it's in their backyard. It was a 45 to 50-minute bus ride, and I couldn't be more impressed with those kids. They did a real great job and played very hard, not just physically but mentally. No mental mistakes, and it was very impressive. So, on a positive note, we're gonna still compete. We're not by any means not motivated or wanting to win the rest of our games or talking about next year at all. But I'm just stating the facts to people who listen to our show that we got some dudes, and a lot of these kids should probably be playing JV. But since we don't have a whole lot of seniors that are starters, these guys are plugging some holes and they're doing a great job. And you know, in a public school, even private, you have your ups and downs. I mean, I know Williamstown. I'm friends with those guys, and they're 1-6 right now, and we lost to them in the quarters 2 years in a row, and they're winning state championships. So it goes up and it goes down, and unfortunately, that's just the way it is. You're going to win some games, and unfortunately, you're not going to win some games. But even the school down the street, the prep, I mean, they're 3-4 struggling this year, and they're handpicking them and losing the public schools. So it's hard to win, but we're going to keep working hard. And I like these kids. I like this group. They're fun to coach. They're respectful. They listen, and they want to get better. So that's what's all about: getting better and competing.
Yeah, and anytime, we have any of the guys on the show or, Friday nights pregame when I'm down on the field, like you said, they're very fun to be around. Like they have this
Yeah,
energy and this aura about them that like you want to be around this team as much as possible because they're just fun, they're exciting, and like you said, they want to get better. They want to continue to improve week to week. Like they want to look back on this season, when it's all said and done, like from where they were that first scrimmage back in August to where they will be, after the Thanksgiving game against the crosstown rivals. They want to be like, we improved, 100x, because I think that's the trajectory that this team is on. Even though, like we said, the record may not reflect that, the improvement levels that across the board guys on this roster have made to where we even are now on October 11th as we record this, it's exponential to see the improvement that so many of these guys have made.
yeah, no doubt. I agree with you. But it's a process. A lot of them jumped. Man, they jumped 2 levels to varsity. So if they're playing seventh and eighth grade football, they bypassed freshmen, they bypassed JV, and they went right up to varsity, which isn't easy to do. Like for instance, the Holy Spirit quarterback the other night, I was talking to the coaches. He's very good, but he's a senior, and this is the first year he's even starting because there was guys in front of him. So I mean, to have a quarterback like that basically was playing. Well, he went through the progressions. He played freshman, and then he played JV, and now he's the varsity quarterback. A lot of our kids haven't had that progression, and they're learning as they go. But like I said, they're doing a great job. It takes time. We got some 15-year-olds competing against 18, 19-year-olds. You know how that goes. So they don't have that strength yet, but they're hanging in there and they're competing, and I'm very proud of them.
Yeah, and I mean, we even mentioned too earlier in the season that like there's still a bunch of players across the country that are still kind of trying to reacclimate after having dealt with everything with the pandemic. There was, some throwing off of years to where some of these guys, they're coming back to play football for the very first time this year, for the first time in 2 years. So there's a lot of, just reacclimation and getting used to the grind of, going through a football season. And, it's impressive to just see the way that these guys have progressed. I do have to ask you, Coach, with this Holy Spirit game, you finally unlocked the field goal unit for this game. Take me through that decision and what'd you see from Greif on the field goal kick to let you unlock his leg?
Yeah, I was comfortable, kicking that field goal. We were, I think, possibly on the 10 or 15. That's kind of, we're comfortable with him kicking from a certain distance, and we had the right lineman in. There was no injuries. Like I said, it's very hard. We've got some guys back, that are backups, but I mean, as far as having three at one time, like in the Oakcrest game, that's a little overwhelming. So we've worked hard on preparing the guys and then having backups prepared too, because he is a great kicker and great punter, and his kickoffs are improving. I mean, he's a real weapon for us, and I feel like the special teams have been very good, and it's mostly because of him, because he's doing a fantastic job. And when we played for the Blitz, I know he injured his knee and had surgery. So I think he's finally at full strength. It takes time when you have that type of surgery, and you know, last year he did a great job for us too, but he wasn't nearly as strong as he is now. I mean, through his training, with that 5-star kicking, he goes to Coach Cooper, and he's in the weight room. And I think, no offense to my ex kickers out there, but I don't remember a kicker staying the whole practice and refusing to leave like he does. I mean, the kickers usually do their thing and say, "See you, coach." I'm like, "Yeah, no problem," and I'm good with it. But with Colin, I'm like, "All right, bud, I'll see you. You can get out of here if you want." He's like, "No, coach, I'll stay the whole practice. That's not right." So he's a special kid, and he's a great teammate. And like I said, he is a major weapon for us, and he's only a junior.
First field goal for you guys since Henry Garton, I think, a few years ago, I want to say.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
I mean, to be fair, over the past, in your tenure as head coach, you've had some pretty talented kickers, which is
Yeah.
a rare
Kling.
commodity in high school football.
Yeah, Kling was very good, and then Garton, and now Greif. So we've had some good ones.
So shout out to Colin getting his first 3-pointer on the board, if you will. But looking ahead, coach, you got EHT this week. How's practice been? Coming off the Holy Spirit game and kind of just resetting and taking away the good, the bad from that game to progress through this week of practice and get set for an EHT team that, like you mentioned, you both are going to be battling it out, possession by possession, because this game could really determine who gets into the playoffs.
Yeah, the kids are focused and working hard, getting ready for this big game. And my coaching staff, they're doing a great job. We've got some real good coaches here, and I'm very fortunate to have them in our program. It's like I said earlier multiple times. There's not a whole lot of people lined up to coach football anymore. It's a huge time commitment, and unfortunately, it doesn't really pay that well. So, and then you got to hear certain things, and it's not for everybody if you can't handle it. My favorite saying is, Coach Parcells, you start listening to fans, you start sitting with them, right? And unfortunately, sometimes things get a little heated, but it's part of the gig. Um, it is what it is, and at the end of the day, I just always do what's best for the kids, and that's the rule I live by, and I'm going to continue to live by. And I sleep real good at night, knowing that in my position, I do what's best for the kids in our program, and we've got a good relationship, with the current players and former players, and we're just going to keep building and going out there and competing. But can't say enough about the guys I got on the staff, and the guys I've had over the years on the staff with Coach Smith and Coach Volpe and Coach Schifalalio, who's now the assistant athletic director here. So we've had some real good ones. Now we got some real good ones in with Coach Hendricks and Coach Tucker, Coach Wimbish, and Coach Guzman's been with me since the beginning. all the kids love Coach Goose. All the kids in school love Coach Goose. He's a great person, and he's always got my back. He's always got the kids' back, and he's a real asset to our program. And he's actually the JV coach with Coach Vizo, who's another incredible coach we have here. He played quarterback at Vineland. Now he's giving back to the program more ways than one. He volunteers and he gives. He's very generous to the program, and he's always bringing food for the kids. He's another great asset for our program, and we're talking about some players, and just so happens one of my players' fathers too. He's helping us out with Coach Ecker. Does a great job for us. Shane's at Alvernia now. We were talking about earlier, but Coach Ecker's been with us for a while now, and another great guy. And obviously we have Coach Heck with all his experience, 40 years plus, coaching youth football and high school football, and he advises me well, and guys are working hard. We got Coach Gilbert helping out with the offensive line. He's really done a great job getting the O line better. O line showing huge improvements. Offense doesn't work if you don't have, the blocking up front that we have. So we've got some really good ones, and we're very fortunate. I make sure the kids know it. I talk to them all the time about being respectful to the coaches and being thankful for the guys we have here, because it's not easy, like I said.
Yeah, I task anyone out there. I truly doubt there's anyone out there that doesn't like Coach Guzman.
Yeah,
He's like the most likable human on the planet.
no doubt, no doubt. We go way back. He was a couple years behind me at the College of New Jersey. He played at Hamilton, and obviously I played at Vineland. And he was a linebacker. I came in as a linebacker, but I moved over to the offensive side. I played tight end in college. But we're always competing against one another, because when you're in college, it's two separate units. Nobody plays both sides of the ball in college. You have so many guys. But I can remember him playing, defense and special teams, and being a great football player. I feel like his nickname in college was Nitro. Possibly. I have to check with him, but I mean, he would hit you.
I'm very tempted now Friday night to walk down on the field and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, Coach Nitro."
Look, that could have been his nickname. I could be mistaken, and I have to check with Coach Goose. But
That's a great nickname, nonetheless.
around here, he's just obviously Coach Goose or Goose, and yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and fortunately, we work together too in the school here, and we get to hang out all day, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, love Coach Goose, and I'm definitely going to dive into the Nitro nickname, named after a roller coaster coach.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Not sure, but I think that was.
It's a great nickname.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in college, that's for sure.
Going into this EHT game, Coach, what are some things that you guys have picked up? That this team does really well. That you're trying to get a better advantage matchup wise against Egg Harbor Township on Friday night.
Yeah, I know Coach Stetzer had a lot of seniors last year. He graduated. They had a good year. Came down to Vineland and took it to us. We've had good games over the years, and some have been one-sided. We've had a few games against them where we beat them fairly well, and last year they beat us fairly well on the scoreboard. But I think both teams are evenly matched. They have some young guys playing as well, and kind of similar to us. They sustain drives and do some nice things, but I think there's some things they could clean up just like we can. And it's going to be a battle. I think we have two programs and similar positions here, and I think both programs are on the way up. He's got some young guys playing as well, and like I said, I got a lot of respect for Coach Stetzer. He's a friend of mine, and we go way back. And he's a pretty intense guy, and I'm a pretty intense guy. So we're gonna see how our programs react Friday night, and I think whoever can, reduce and eliminate mental mistakes and stay positive and handle adversity well is going to win the game.
Yeah, and like we brought up, like this is gonna be a potential, boost to get into the postseason this year. To know that that's the type of environment that you guys are gonna be, walking into on the road. And EHT, like every team you guys play on the schedule, they have a great, fan base at home and everything. What's kind of the message to everyone this week to keep those mental mistakes at a minimum, to keep that focus, and to really be locked in even more so than you guys normally are, knowing what's potentially at stake from the outcome of this game?
Yeah, just keeping the kids focused, working hard, um, trying to stick to our routine. Pretty much the same every week. We try to, you know, get our 3 hours in of practice and keep it structured. Thursday they're calling for some rain, so I got to make arrangements to have the gym probably, because we're not going to bring them out in the rain and risk injury or anything like that. So we just have to make sure we plan accordingly. Kids get you know proper amount of sleep all week. That's really big, and just make sure they're eating their 3 meals a day with some snacks in between and hydrating. It's actually been hot the last couple of days here. Beautiful weather, but it is hot when you're out there working. The kids, need to stay hydrated. So, we do our best. I verbally tell them. We have our huddle software, which is our messaging system for the kids, and as well as our video. So we try to do our best to remind them and have them prepared. But it's we do have a little bit of a logistical thing here, challenge as far as using our home field and practicing at the high school. It's not ideal, but do your best with it. We want to utilize that beautiful field, but it's hard because they got to bring their equipment home and then bring it to Gatone, and then the next day they got to bring it to school if we're practicing at Vineland High, and you're lugging all that equipment around. So it does have its challenges. So the kids are, doing a great job where they're bringing all their equipment home and bringing it to school and bringing it to Gatone, and they just have to pay attention, if you know what I mean.
Totally. And I was going to bring up before you mentioned the rain, I was going to say it has to be pretty nice this week, not having all the rain that we've had recently and being able to practice outside again.
Yeah, no doubt. Fortunately, we have that beautiful stadium with a beautiful field, and the JV actually played Washington Township on Monday, and it was raining all day. It stopped, and it rained again, but they had a blast. A lot of teams had to cancel because you can't go on the grass field with that kind of rainfall. So ours drains right away, and it's safe, and the kids are playing right on it. It's awesome, that field.
It's always a big benefit for the Fighting Clan football team, and it's nice that, EHT, we were there last year for one of the preseason scrimmages. They also have turf, so that's a big benefit to, just have that comfortability underneath your feet, knowing what surface you're going to be playing on.
Yeah, no doubt. The only game that varsity has this year on grass was Clearview. Everyone else has turf. It's just the way it's going, and it makes sense, as far as safety and the expense. Over time, you save money because you're not paying someone to cut it, water it, fertilize it, all that kind of stuff. It adds up. So if a district has a 30-year vision as opposed to a right now vision, it's gonna be a wise decision, in my opinion.
100%. And, from this week of practice and, everything you've been able to kind of take in and pick up on what EHT does well and some things that you guys are trying to also exploit, what are, what are you looking for from the guys this week, offense, defense, special teams, to really, execute the game plan well? Who are some guys that, you might be challenging in practice this week to really step up and, answer the bell come Friday night?
It's going to be an all-out air assault, and we're just going to pick on their tiny corners. That's a joke, Coach Stetzer. I want to see how long I can keep a serious face. Um, no, like I said, they're a good football team. They've had some success. They've won a couple games. It's always a heavyweight fight with Vineland EHT. Um, he's got a real good coach and staff. It's, I don't know, his 8th year possibly there, 7th or 8th year. He got the job a couple years after I got the job at Vineland. So we know each other very well. His kids play hard. He'll have them ready. They'll be flying around. You know, he'll have them prepared. So I couldn't emphasize enough to my kids at practice that you can't go by their record, 2-5, and you can't go by our record, 2-4. It's two good football teams that have played really good teams in South Jersey, some of the top 10 teams, and we're both battle tested. We played some good teams. We took some lumps. We hung in there, battled. But Friday night, it's like I said, it could be for a playoff spot. So the kids have to bring the intensity and listen to the coaches. They like to run the ball, so we're going to have to be prepared for that. That physicality, our kids are going to have to bring it and be ready for it. We'll have some aggressive guys. Like I said, Coach Stetzer is very intense. He's an emotional guy, and he gets the best out of his players. So our kids have to be able to match that. So the staff and I are going to do our best to make sure our kids are prepared. Offensively, we just want to keep getting better and playing to our strengths. And we have, some really good guys in the passing game. Our running game has improved. Fortunately, our quarterback can throw and run, and it brings a different dimension to our offense. So, we're lucky there. We put Newman, Tyshawn Newman at tight end. He's done a excellent job, not just in blocking, but he's a true weapon there in the passing game. He's close to 6'3" basketball player. Brings a new dimension to our offense. He had some opinions he stated, and he was vocal. And I told him, you want to help the offense, then we need you to contribute. So he contributes to the offense. He was kind of just strictly an edge rusher, defensive guy, but now he's stepped up and he's playing offense. And he definitely is going to catch the eye of some defensive coordinators. You definitely have to keep an eye on him because he is so talented, and I feel like he's going to help us open some things up for our offense. And, we had another Tyshawn Sharp helping us with our second tight end spot, number 27. He played last week and did a nice job. And, we're just going to continue to change things up on offense, always have some surprise formations and plays ready for the following week just to throw your opponent off. That's what about game planning, tweaking things here and there. So we're just going to make sure that we continue to do our jobs as, the coaches here and get our kids in a good position to win. And that's about how it is, man.
Yeah, and I think, having somebody with the size and athleticism of Tayshawn Newman at the tight end position, like you said, it's going to open up things for the offense, and I think that just takes a giant weight off of, your wide receivers that are on the outsides, where you have that centralized portion of an opponent's defense really having to now focus on a 6'3" athletic freak that is Tayshawn Newman and what he can do, in the middle of the field because he is so physical and is so, a presence that, Tank Powell on the outside, James Hitchens Jr. on the outside, that's going to open up things for them to be able to get loose and kind of draw one-on-one matchups instead of getting doubled up like they have been in past games.
Yeah, exactly. And all these names that you're naming, what's so cool is they all play basketball too. So that they're very athletic. They can go up and score, rebound, run the court, fast break, great hands, fast twitch, and it's benefiting our program. Like I said, we're going to continue um, to get better. Um, like I said, it's a work in progress here. We do have some young guys stepping up, but I feel like we are getting better. Last game they played much better. We got to make some additional changes. Hopefully, we get some guys back. Our trainers are doing a great job. Trainer Dave and trainer Dara. Very lucky to have them here. And in addition to them, we have a great athletic maintenance department with Joe Pettit and Mike Ott's been helping out. So I've mentioned numerous times, we got the full support of the athletic director with Donnie Robbins, and Coach Schifalale was the assistant AD. And the one that really makes things happen is the athletic director's secretary, Lori Bings. Man, she is incredible, scheduling the buses and making sure we have officials and all that stuff. So it's a team effort, a lot of moving parts, especially with football. Man, there's a lot involved. They're like, how do you do football and basketball? I'm like, you kidding me? Basketball's a relief. It's much easier. They grab some sneakers and a basketball and a practice jersey. We're rocking and rolling. And guess what? I'm never in the heat. I'm never in the cold. I'm never in the rain, never in the wind. I always have a climate controlled, beautiful gym. And I'm chilling there coaching basketball too. So each has its challenges, but football is definitely more challenging because, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts, more kids, the equipment, as you can imagine, and everybody, I'm sure, knows it's not even close. But the good news is the basketball players are playing football, and they're getting tougher. And then the football players are playing basketball, and they're getting more athletic. So it's a win-win. So we're going to keep building that up. And shifting gears a little bit, the basketball team won the summer league championship. We started our own summer league this past summer and had all the Cumberland County teams in it except for Cumberland Regional. That's a whole nother conversation, but we don't need to discuss. We had Delsey in here in Oakcrest and Buna, and it was fantastic. And our guys ended up winning, the summer league championship. So we're going to keep building that up too and get these basketball players playing football. And we need those kind of guys, And in the past, we weren't getting them. I can remember early on there it was like kids, oh, I'm just a basketball player, or I'm just a football player. We want all the great athletes playing 3 seasons, and they're more recruitable too because you can't duplicate competition like you do in a game situation. That's something, at practice you try, but you can't duplicate having the game unis on, the officials, the field ready, the court ready, and you try to get them in game-like competitive situations all the time. So it's about competing, and that's why a lot of these college recruiters like multi-sport athletes. So if there's any parents or even kids that do listen to this podcast, get them in a sport every season, have them competing and using different muscle fibers,
100%.
Basketball is so fast twitch. It gets the kids, develops more fast twitch for football. It's just, they should do 3 sports and, keeps them busy. And I feel like kids that are on the sports teams, in the future are better workers in the workforce because they understand the team concept. And I can just tell by the people I work with who was on a team and who wasn't. It's just
Definitely.
different. You understand it's about a team, and I can't emphasize that enough.
You brought up Lori Bings. I was actually with her on Friday at the wedding I was at.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, her nephew got married.
Oh, great. So you got to speak to Miss Bings?
Yep, we've been her entire family, my entire family, like we've been close since like the day I was born. So
Awesome.
we've been connected for quite a long time.
she's a great woman and a great asset to the athletic department. She helps all the sports and with all kinds of things. I'm just giving you a little bit as far as the organizing the transportation and the officials and facilities and getting the kids the supplies they need and the coaches the supplies. It goes on and on. But she's been here since I've been here, and I'm hoping she stays a long time. But she's awesome.
100%. And Coach, you always know it's a look good, feel good, play good podcast. We're on the road this week at EHT. So what's the jersey combo looking like for this regular season, postseason environment matchup against EHT?
At this point, I think we're definitely going to go with the red and gray helmets, and I'm thinking we're going to go red and gray helmets with all white unis, white pants, white tops, white socks. I think it'll look very nice. I think we've had a different combo every game.
I think so.
So we had all white with the white helmets, but now we're going all white with the red and gray. So try to mix it up. Kids get excited. Like you said, look good, feel good, play good, win the game. Let's go.
Exactly. And, Friday night, it's going to be a playoff atmosphere. So if you're in the area and can get out to EHT, I highly recommend it. It's a great facility out there as well to take in a game. And if you're not, make sure you subscribe to the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel. You can watch the game there. Myself and Rich Scarpa on the call. 6 p.m. kickoff this week, if I'm not mistaken, for Vineland and EHT. And make sure you guys are following Vineland Football on all the social media platforms, the Red and Gray Gridiron Group Facebook page, at Vineland FB on Twitter. And make sure you follow Underground Sports Philadelphia on Twitter, as well at Underground PHI, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any episodes of the Dan Russo Show. And as we always do, Coach, we wrap up with the alumni, and we had a big-time week this week. We were going through, before we started recording, just getting the list together of everybody that is playing at the next level. And, of course, I think we'd be remiss to not just kick things off with Primetime Pop once again, getting big-time love pregame. I think we got to get Louis Riddick to Vineland, New Jersey, because he, every week now, is tweeting about Isaiah Pacheco and is loving watching him play. So, Louis Riddick, one, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the Dan Russo Show to talk about Pop, but we love that you're a fan as well. And I don't know if you saw the graphic, Coach, that they put up on Monday Night Football of Isaiah. They had Vineland, New Jersey as the hometown, showed that he got the key to the city this summer as well. And he got a lot of love from the Monday Night Football graphics department.
Yeah, that was really awesome. Like we've discussed, so proud of Pop and all his accomplishments, and he's just going to keep getting better. It's amazing to watch, especially some of that pregame stuff, like the fans and the tailgating, and the Arrowhead Stadium is enormous, one of the biggest in the country. And that whole backdrop when they're doing the aerial views, I'm like, man, this is awesome. I'm trying to figure out when I can go see. I definitely want to take a trip out to Kansas City. Just always concerned with the flights and all the horror stories you're hearing about them getting canceled. You'd hate to spend all that money, and they're telling you're not going to make it, and you're like stuck with tickets you can't even use. So, unfortunately, he doesn't have any. I think the closest game this year for the Chiefs is Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I'm going to do my best to go see it live, and so proud of Pop and his accomplishments, and what a great program he's in. Chiefs, one of the best teams in the league, and, has an opportunity maybe, to reach playoffs and then possibly a Super Bowl and win it again with all the talent they have.
Yeah, and I think one of the wild stat lines from the Isaiah Pacheco versus Coach Ash Bowl 1.0 this past Monday, where the Chiefs won 30-29. Pop's teammate and one of the best tight ends to ever do it, Travis Kelce. I don't know if you saw his stat line, Coach. 7 receptions, 25 yards, but 4 touchdowns.
I did see that. It's incredible.
That's just an unbelievable stat line.
I know. You think the Raiders would have maybe defended him a little better when that guy's a big target, and he's awesome player, and you know he's a special tight end.
And I'm
He
sure Pop was texting Coach Ash after the game too.
Yeah, I'm sure. I got I still text Coach Ash, and it's on my to do list just to touch base with him again. Like I said, we had a great relationship, and you know, to his credit, he's the one that was the coach at Rutgers when they got him. So he was definitely Coach Ash's number one recruit in his tenure there as head coach.
Yeah, so Chiefs get a big time win. Unfortunately, Tyree and Rutgers a 1 point loss to Nebraska this past week, but Coach Schiano was not quitting. I don't know if you saw that final play of the game. Nebraska was taking a knee and they almost fumbled the ball on the QB kneel, and Coach Schiano's defense was ready to go in and scoop that ball up if it got loose.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a fierce competitor, and he's trying to get them back on track. Unfortunately, that was a setback, but it looks like he's making some changes. He thinks what's best for the program. I had a sportscaster from that area call me, and I guess asking me who I think should be the offensive coordinator, and my answer was I feel like whoever Coach Yano thinks is best fit to get that program where it needs to be, and he'll find the right guy, and I know Coach Campanelli will hold it down until they get a new offensive coordinator. He's a experienced coach who was head coach at one of those North Jersey privates and was an interim head coach before Coach Shiano took over. So they'll find the right guy, and you don't want to see anybody lose their job, but it's just the nature of their business. When things don't go right, they got to make some changes. So um, hopefully, he can find the right guy.
Yeah, and they have a bye week this week, but they get back after it in a couple weeks on October 22nd against Indiana at home. But we were going through big old list, Coach, and we got a bunch of guys playing at the college level still, doing their thing and performing really well. And we stumbled upon the fact that Del Val is a whopping 6-0, if I'm not mistaken, we found out.
Yeah, 6-0. Congratulations, Barry Turner, Conrad Jackson. They're still playing, football in college and extending their careers. So I talked to Barry's sister at school here, and she said he's doing well playing corner. So he was a great player for us. And Conrad's on the offensive side, so they're having a great season. And we have Tyrese Powell at Keene University, and they just had a big win against Montclair State. So that's a real big win, good win for them in the NJAC conference they're playing. I see that Antoine Rivera made the roster for Seton Hill University, and real proud of him. David Dutra's at Monmouth, who's having a fantastic year. They beat Villanova. I saw a couple weeks ago, and they just beat Albany this past weekend. I got to actually watch it on TV. It was fun to watch. Monmouth just joined the CAA division, moved up. They were like kind of an independent because the MAC doesn't have any other football teams besides Monmouth. So Villanova, William and Mary, Rhode Island, Maine, Albany. I think did I mention University of Delaware as well?
I think so, yeah.
So
Delaware's in there.
they've got some big time opponents. Otis Harold's at FDU, Madison, or Florham, they call it. So I think FDU and Keene play. I'm going to try to get to that game. We've got Shane Ecker at Alvernia, Coach Ecker's son, doing a great job. See, they have a couple wins. And obviously, you can mention we got Tyreem playing Mike linebacker for Big Ten school in Rutgers. And they're fairly young, too. It takes a couple years. Coach Shannon's going into his third year. 1 year was the COVID year, so it's hard to even count that. So he's still building there as well. And that was his number one recruit. So Vineland has had Coach Ash's number one recruit at Rutgers and Isaiah Pacheco. And now I want to say Coach Shiano's number one recruit in his tenure has been Tyrene Powell, who had offers at Virginia Tech and Penn State, and Kentucky was here and all kinds of schools. But they knew he was going. Everyone felt like he was going to go to Virginia Tech. So Tyrene's not a glory hound and didn't need to write 30 different offers on Twitter and all that stuff. So when coaches came in, he was real honest. Like, for instance, Kentucky, he could have played there, an SEC school, and he's like, Coach, I'm not going to Kentucky. No offense. He had other offers. He's a family guy. He wanted to stay close to his family. Virginia Tech was far, but Tyreem's dad drives trucks for a living, and he's a truck driver, so he doesn't mind driving. So that 5-6 hour drive, whatever it was nothing to him. But at the end of the day, when Coach Shiano got the job and he had an opportunity to go play Coach Shiano and Rutgers in the Big Ten, it's like he did what was best for him and his family. And I'm sure the parents are very grateful that it's an hour and 45 minutes as opposed to 6 or 7 hours, some back roads in Virginia. You know what I mean? So it worked out. And, it's nice to be able to drive and see him on a Saturday or I guess even Friday nights they play now, but that doesn't work for us because we play Fridays usually. So he's a great kid, man. We're always texting, and he's always promoting Vineland. He led the team those 2 years to the only 2 playoff wins in school history. So he's a special kid. He'll be our next NFL player playing on Sundays.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I talked to Tyrene quite a bit as well, social media and everything, and keeping in touch with him. And we plan on following his journey, just like we did with Jamil, like we did with Isaiah, and just seeing where he winds up once his career at Rutgers comes to an end. But he's doing a great job there now, and as is everybody playing at the next level from Vineland. It's fun keeping up with just the immense number of players that are playing at the collegiate level, and then obviously keeping up with Jamil and Isaiah at the NFL level as well.
Yeah, hopefully the Chiefs go for another Vineland guy and we can see him play on the same team again. Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be pretty cool.
But Tyreem's definitely going to have a great NFL career. He keeps doing everything that he does. He checks every box, man. He's very special.
Yeah, so to all of our alumni, keep doing your thing, and keep representing Vineland the way that you have. And we'll be back next week, hopefully talking about a big time win over EHT, getting set for homecoming after that. And like I said earlier, make sure you guys are following Vineland High School football on social media, the Red and Gray Gridiron Group Facebook page, at Vineland FB on Twitter. You can follow Underground Sports Philadelphia on Twitter at Underground PHI. And make sure you subscribe to the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel. You can tap in to every home game, every away game with myself and Rich Scarpa on the call. This week, 6 p.m. kickoff at EHT on the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel. And make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel as well so you don't miss out on any episodes of the Dan Russo Show. They premiere every Thursday night. And it's always a fun experience in the comments live and chatting with everybody. So be a friend, tell a friend, and let everybody know that you can tune in live to the Dan Russo Show premiere every Thursday night leading into game day. But, Coach, any final thoughts heading into this matchup against EHT?
Yeah, well, one of them is I just always would like to thank Jim Cavallero for all he does, not just with our social media, but I haven't had someone do our stats the way he does them for us since being here, and it's incredible, and it helps the kids, and it helps me tremendously. But he is incredible, does all types of things for us. Works for the city of Vineland. He bleeds red and gray, and we talk just about every day, and he's very active in our program, helping the kids and helping me and the coaches. And just want to say thanks to Jim Cavallero. Does our Twitter and Facebook, and I want to say Snapchat too. I've never been on Snapchat, but I think Jimmy's got that down pat too, and he's just been tremendous. So thanks, Jimmy. Like I said, it's going to be a very physical game against EHT. It always is. and our kids got to be able to withstand, that physicality that's going to be taking place Friday night, and they will. They'll be ready. Our kids, they want to win. They want to work hard. They want to compete. A little extra motivation too. A little birdie told me that that being Coach Stockbridge, the assistant girls soccer coach, that when they were down at Egg Harbor, maybe one of their kids misplaced a kick and it went over to the football field, and they mentioned something like, tell your football team we're going to kick their ass like last year. So we're going to see if they can kick our ass. Right? So my guys
There
have
it
a
is.
little extra motivation, and I think the girls soccer team here yelled back, "Now Vineland's going to kick your ass," or something along those lines. So, Coach Stockbridge was like, "Shh, don't say that, don't say that." But it's just kids being kids and going back and forth. But maybe a little extra motivation for our guys to go out there and lay the wood, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So our kids will be ready. It's going to be a physical game. We're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. It's an old school Cape Atlantic rival game. Um, I had great games as a player playing against them, except for when I didn't drop in the flat correctly, and Coach Parentazzi got on me pretty significantly. I don't remember ever being spoke to like that in my entire life, but Coach Parentazzi, boy, he didn't accept excuses, and he made you better because he worked you, and all the respect in the world for Coach Parentazzi. But a lot of fond memories of our games against Egg Harbor, and for me personally as a player, and then as a coach, you know, we've had some battles with them, and I don't think anything will be different Friday night. But our kids will be ready. They're going to be ready. Um, Looking forward to it. We need a win. We want to be a playoff program every year, and this game could, you know, be the game that we need to win here to get in. And once you get in, it's a new season. Tell the kids last year, we beat Lenape. Lenape sneaks in, backdoors into the playoffs. We're one win short last year, and Lenape is the 16th seed, ends up beating the one seed Washington Township. So, and then plays in the sectional final. So you keep building, you keep getting better, you keep working hard. Regular season and playoffs are two separate seasons. It's a long season with football. It's a contact sport. You know, Unfortunately, injuries happen. Whoever can stay healthy and get better is going to make a playoff run. So the first step in that process for us right now is Egg Harbor. So Egg Harbor is all that's on our mind. If we can pull off the win Friday night, then we'll start discussing some other things. But I can't say enough of what a huge game this is. This is a huge game for us, a huge game for them, and it's going to be a heavyweight fight.
Looking forward to it, Coach, and it's going to, like you said, it's going to be a heavyweight fight, postseason potentially on the line in this matchup. And like we mentioned, you can tune in on the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Myself and Rich Scarpa up in the booth, or come on out to Egg Harbor Township. It's not that far of a drive, and come support the Fighting Clan and make it more of a home game environment for the boys on the field. But until next week, when hopefully we're talking about a big win over EHT, getting set for homecoming. This has been another episode of the Dan Russo Show, presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia. For Coach Russo, I'm Kyle Bennett. We will see you all next week.